Hi, welcome to part 8 of the video series about vertical projectile motion. In the previous videos, we solved some examples to understand how to use equations in this topic. In this video, we are going to solve the last couple of examples regarding the equations. An object is thrown downwards from a height of 15 meters with an initial velocity of 20 meters per second. How long will it take to reach the ground? Assume no air resistance and g is 9.8 meters per second square. As we've seen in the previous questions, as a first step, we choose the direction of initial velocity as the positive direction. For this specific question, it is downwards. The magnitude of the initial velocity is 20 meters per second. Acceleration is 9.8 meters per second square. The object is thrown downwards from the height of 15 meters. We have to calculate how long will it take the ball to reach the ground. As you know from the previous video, if displacement and initial velocity are given and we have to calculate the time, it is better to solve this question in two steps. First, we calculate the final velocity by using the formula v final square is equal to v initial square plus 2 times a times displacement. Where initial velocity is 20 meters per second, acceleration is 9.8 meters per second square, and the displacement is 15 meters. Final velocity is equal to 26.34 meters per second. Once the final velocity is known, we can use the formula v final is equal to v initial plus a times delta t to calculate the time. We have just calculated the final velocity. Initial velocity is 20 and acceleration is 9.8. The time it takes the object to fall from the height of 15 meters is 0.65 seconds. In the last example, instead of being thrown, an object is released from a height of 20 meters. The task is still the same, to calculate how long will it take the ball to reach the ground. Assume no air resistance and g is equal to 9.8 meters per second square. The solution of the question is very similar to the previous one. The only difference is the initial velocity. If an object is released or dropped from a certain height, its initial velocity is equal to 0. This is not applicable for the cases where the object is dropped from a transport moving on a vertical axis. We are going to solve an example for that specific case in the section of extra examples. To solve the question, we can use the formula v final square is equal to v initial square plus 2 times a times displacement. Initial velocity is 0, acceleration is 9.8, and displacement is 20. All these values are positive as all of them are downwards. V is equal to 19.9 meters per second. Once the final velocity is known, we can use the formula v final is equal to v initial plus a times delta t to calculate the time. We have just calculated the final velocity. Initial velocity is 0 and acceleration is 9.8. The time it takes the object to fall from the height of 20 meters is 2.02 seconds. In this video, we solved the last couple of examples. In the next video, we are going to dive into the graphs. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe and turn on notifications in order to be updated about the new videos.